place to eat. Super family friendly.
Right.
Lots of free parking, especially on the weekends. They're planning on hosting a lot of stuff up there. I think in October or maybe in September. I forget which one. I think it's October. They're hosting October. I believe they're going to be hosting a new hobby night, hobbyist day or whatever. It's an event. I think it was on the Warhammer community site. We're going to try to go check that out when they do it.
And there is a lot of wine and grape fun, too.
There's a lot of wine shops.
It wasn't a joke.
Yeah, there's a lot of great food.
They have a urban wine tasting tour you can take where you go around. I've done that before.
There's like a water park nearby.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff for kids. Lots of stuff for the family. Lots of great places to eat. So you can make a weekend out of it.
Definitely. Yeah.
I know that we here in Austin. I mean, for us, it's a 2.5 3 hour drive away to get to Dallas, depending on traffic.
Yep.
I made a day trip of it. Basically, me and the goat boy went. We left early in the morning and came back. Got home around 7.
Did you feel like Thor? Like, did you have goats pulling the chariot the whole way?
Well, I had a car, so
right. That's what Goat Boy has two sons, right? So they can pull his chariot for him.
Yeah, Thomas was with me, but it was a ton of fun. It was a great little store, great location. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff to go check out. I don't want to spoil everything.
No, so they made some announcements. We'll talk about that in a minute here.
Yeah.
Some of the announcements. One of the things we want to talk about, because Adam, I saw the last weekend, not this weekend, and he was really excited.
I'm super pumped about this.
We were over at War Games Con, and
Da-da-da.
Adam comes out of a closet or a door with a goofy grin on his face and his copy of Adeptus Titanicus.
Yes.
So we're both really excited. You may have seen us a couple weeks ago playing on the stream. I was playing with Larry. Adam's got his copy, so we're really excited for it.
I'm working on it. I'm going to try to get my stuff tabletop ready.
So we can
get some games in for sure.
But one of the things we know now is that the Reaver Titan is coming really soon. Right?
Yes, we have seen sprues for the Reaver.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen pics of the Reaver. We've also the Warhound. It's on the wings.
Warhound's not as exciting.
Yeah, no. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But the Reaver is coming out, and I am super excited about the Reaver because it is the workhorse of Adeptus Titanicus, in my opinion. And
one of the nice things is because of how that Titanicus. They've done this weird way of releasing it, but we don't have to wait till it comes out to know what it does.
That was something I was super concerned about because I'll be perfectly honest. Like Necromunda came out, I was super pumped about that game. I still like it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But the release has and the support structure has been such that it's lost a lot of steam.
You're like, I wanted to play this gang. And you're like, well,
I wanted to play Orlocks.
Yeah.
Oh well, you gotta wait for 3 quarters until they release. Or Van Sar was another one.
I want to play Spirers.
Yeah. Keep crying here. But I was really worried that they were gonna slow roll the Necromunda. Slow roll the Adeptus Titanicus releases. Right. Like Necromunda, but they haven't. They did release at least I don't know if it's all of it, but they released the data cards, the command console for the Reaver Titan
and the Warhound.
Warhound, Reaver, the Warlord. All the command consoles are actually in the Grandmaster Edition, along with all the weapons.
We don't know if they're all the weapons, but a lot of weapons.
A lot of weapons. That's true. That's very true.
We have an idea of what these things cost and what they can do. So we got the. So really quickly, Adam. What makes this such a great workhorse Titan? Okay,
first off, point-wise, it's cheaper.
Yep.
It's $250 before weapons. It's a more versatile, more well-rounded Titan. It's still got a ton of armor. Still brings the boom with the firepower.
And 1,500 points, you could fit 4 of these into
exactly.
Maybe 5?
Maybe 5. Yeah.
I don't know how many.
Yeah, you gotta buy weapons still. Yeah. So, but the big thing about it is it's a slightly smaller Titan. Again, these are not small,
right?
But in the scale, it's a slightly smaller Titan, but it's faster. The base speed is 6. If you push the engines, you can go 9.
It's opposed to a 4-6.
4-6, exactly.
On the Warlord.
On top of that, you're gonna just cover more ground.
Yep.
On top of that, it's got a 2-3 maneuver, so it can move twice or can maneuver twice on regular speed. If you go faster, you can go up to 3 turns, which is a big deal.
It's a big deal. One of the things we've seen in the games that we played and the game that we streamed is that this is a very maneuver-intensive game.
Yes.
And being able to not get shot and get shots off is not impossible. It's unlike 40K where you're like, if I can shoot you, you can shoot me.
Yep.
This is very much a game.
Because the arcs matter, right?
Because the arcs matter, yeah.
The arcs matter so much more in Titanicus. And that's another advantage the Reaver has, is it actually does have a 360-degree firing arm with the carapace weapons.
Yeah.
Which is super big deal.
Other stats wise, it's got the same ballistic skill. I think all
of them are going to be about the same. Yeah.
It has a better weapon skill. It's got a 4 instead of a 5.
Yeah.
Versus the Warlord.
Yeah. Now it doesn't hit quite as robustly.
Tries hard, right?
But it's still it's a size 8 or scale 8 instead of scale 10.
Yeah.
Which also means coincidentally, the carapace weapon has a smaller dead zone.
Right.
Yeah. So that's super handy.
3 clades instead of 4 clades for repairs. So it doesn't repair as much. It is a weaker Titan. It is cheaper.
Yeah, weaker in terms compared to the Warlord. Everything's, you know.
Yep, it has one smaller. Its reactor is 1 tick smaller.
Yeah.
It loses one of the orange ticks. So it's actually that's actually not that punishing.
Right.
Because you still have your 2 greens and your 2 yellows.
Yep.
So you probably weren't wanting to push down into the orange and reds anyway, because that starts getting really dangerous for you.
Unless you really needed to.
Unless you
weren't
needed
going to do
yeah,
that.
So that actually means that you still have the same kind of green zone as a Warlord. And then it's got 1 less void shield tick on the 3+.
Right.
But still solid void shields.
Yeah.
The biggest weakness is going to be in its actual hull. It's a lot easier to hurt.
It is easier to hurt, and I don't want to downplay the I don't want to make it sound like the Warlord isn't the king of the hill, because clearly the Warlord Titans
definitely
are the best. But I think when it comes down to actual gameplay in terms of like getting objectives and trying to set up shots and maneuvering, man, the Reaver's just so much more versatile.
It's very versatile, and I mean, and it makes the game more interesting because now. Like, the Warlord can shrug. One of the big differences is not so much that, like, a giant cannon is going to hurt them equally. Because, like, a Bellicosa cannon, realistically, is going to hurt either one of these.
Right, exactly.
It's the low-end stuff that might not even be able to hurt the Warlord, but can put dents into start scratching up the armor on the Reaver. And that actually just makes the game more interesting overall.
For sure.
Now, these little things, your Vulcan Mega Bolters, your things like that, suddenly are God, this actually is relevant to the game.
Right, and you're not just taking those to shoot at knights.
Or shred shields.
You're actually using those to take on Titan equivalents, the Reaver and the Warhound, both. Again, the other cool thing about the Reaver is it's got the carapace slot, it's got 2 arm slots, so it's still going to be pushing out the firepower. It's just not going to be quite as deadly as a Warlord. Right. Again, but the maneuverability, like we had a situation I think on the stream you guys were showing when a banner of knights gets behind the Warlord.
Right. And
that Warlord is just
they couldn't do anything.
It's just screwed. Yeah. Like you can't move fast enough to get away, and you can't turn enough times to actually get them in a firing arc if you don't get the initiative. Right. So, but I really think that the Reaver is going to have a much better fighting chance to actually get away and fire maybe the carapace weapon back behind it, or just maybe even be able to get enough turns to get you an arc. Yeah. So
I've got a couple of the Reaver weapons here. We'll just go over them quickly. So the Reaver does have dedicated close combat weapons.
Yes.
It's got the Reaver Chain Fist and the Reaver Power Fist.
Right.
These are both short range, 2-inch range to hit.
Which makes sense.
One of the cool things is they both have the Chain Fist has +2 accuracy. The Power Fist has +1 accuracy.
Yeah.
Which means with a 4-up base, that Chain Fist is hitting on 2s.
Yeah, and that Chain Fist is pretty mean.
It's pretty mean. It's melee, rending, 3 dice, strength 8.
Yeah.
The Power Fist is 2 dice instead of 3, strength 9. It's concussive in melee.
Yeah.
So both of these are pretty nasty, but getting 3 strength 8 hits, especially if you can get them to the rear or something.
Oh, yeah.
And with those abilities, that can actually make this a very interesting weapon.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like the Reaver is fast enough to actually make a close combat thing viable, and scary, because man, if you get, like Abe said, if you get in the flank or the rear of a Warhound, and you could just get some free shots in with that Chain Fist or the Power Fist, it's going to be that. And that's the other cool thing about it. You can equip this. The Reaver's got a lot of options.
A lot of options. Yeah. I mean, you've got a Vulcan Mega Bolter on the carapace. You've got warp missiles on the carapace. You've got Gatling blasters on the arm.
You got the Apocalypse missile launcher up top too.
Yep.
Again, the fact you have a 360 shot with those two
is really good. The Melta Cannon is probably the strongest arm weapon, I think.
Yeah.
Which is almost, I mean, it's not that much worse than like a Bellicosa, honestly.
And that's the thing too. Like the Reaver's packing the firepower that can threaten a Warlord.
Could definitely threaten a Warlord or something like
that. Threaten a Warlord.
I think one of my favorite build outs, which is a fairly classic build out for the Reaver, is
Turbo Laser Destructors, but they've been renamed, I think.
Turbo Laser Destructor on the top, and then Laser Blasters on the arm. Which the Laser Blasters are the 3 Turbo Laser Destructors.
Yeah.
And the 3 ones, and then the top one is the 2.
Yeah.
So that combination there
Yeah.
gives you, first off, they've got good range, though the laser blasters do have long, short range, and then it's basically, if you're at good range, it's 8 dice at strength 8.
Yeah, if you have all 3 of those.
If you have all 3 of those, which can have shield bane if you want them to be draining. So that's a really good, like, midline, I'm going to wreck, like, that may not wreck a warlord, but it can definitely hurt warlords. More importantly, it's really great for knocking shields down.
It's going to threaten everything.
Throwing out 8 shots like that are all pretty decent can definitely put the pain on shields.
Yeah, that's definitely no joke. I really also think, and I don't think we've had the official word on the pricing for those yet.
Right.
But I do know that they are going to be cheaper than the warlord itself. And I know a lot of folks were scared off from Titanicus because of the price point.
Sure.
But, whatever. This is a hobby. It's expensive. I'm not trying to hide that fact. But I do believe that once you see the prices on the Reavers and even the Warlords, you're going to notice people are going to go, oh, that's not too bad. I could probably pick up a Reaver or two and some Warhounds.
One of the things that people, I think, the Grandmaster box is like the giant collector's edition box.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's not the core set for this game.
No.
It comes with everything you need. It comes with 2 of the biggest models that the game has right now.
Right. It's 6 knights and all of the
terrain
rules
and
terrain.
So the basic box, which comes with all like the rules and the data sheets, is like $60, right?
Yeah, and that's the rule book, all the data sheets, all the weapon cards, all of the
tokens and stuff.
Yeah, all the command console stuff. You're gonna need to actually play the game. You just know models. And so if you wanted to get into this game a little cheaper, you buy one of those.
Yep.
And you get whatever.
And that's enough maybe for you and your friend even.
Exactly. You could split that with a buddy.
Yeah, and then you can start buying up Reavers or whatever you want.
Maybe you go smaller. Maybe you go, you start with some Warhounds and Reavers and some Knights. Maybe you don't get the Warlord right off the bat. And that's okay. This was one of the things I was worried about, again, with the examples we saw in the other releases for Blood Bowl and Necromunda. Was like, you guys, we need those other 2 Titans as soon as possible because this game needs different chassis to make it interesting. The setting, making it in the Horus Heresy, I think was a good call.
That was definitely a good call.
Because you can just do Loyalist traders, but everybody's using the same gear.
Same stuff.
You get all 4 of the Titans and Knight stuff out. You get the Warlord, Warhound, Reaver, and the Knights.
Right.
You've got a good core set that both sides can use.
Yeah.
And you just start there. You start simple. You start relatively small. But you keep it interesting, but we gotta get those 2 other Titans out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the Warlord, we're gonna see the Warhound also is gonna be really cool when it comes out.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna be the cheapest both points and money wise.
Yeah.
And again, they're really fast.
They are really fast, and they are gonna be the thing where you're gonna see them running in pairs, and they're gonna just get behind, or they're gonna flank a Titan and just rip it to shreds.
Yeah.
Which again, that makes the game actually really interesting because if you have your Warlord, you're gonna want something to protect the flanks as you're marching through, causing massive damage. It just makes it more tactically interesting. It makes it more visually entertaining. Yes. We need those Titans.
We need those Titans. I'm still very excited. I'm waiting for Adam to get his set fully painted up.
I'm working, man.
What have you been doing on your weekends, Adam?
Traveling, apparently. Working on everything but my stuff I want to.
You didn't take them to the Warhammer Citadel to paint there?
I could have.
Yeah.
We just didn't have time.
Yeah.
Didn't have time. I'm sorry. I'm working on it.
All right.
Working on it. Maybe by the time the Reavers actually go up for pre-order, I'll have them ready to go.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see all that. Speaking though, back to the Warhammer Citadel. So they announced some stuff.
They did.
There, a couple things. So we got a new orc vehicle.
Right.
Which is, to me, is the vehicle that they're like, hey, did you see Mad Max Fury Road? Did you like Mad Max?
Goblin strapped to the front.
Yeah, the goblin strapped to that. Well, it's those war boys as well.
It is,
right?
It is their way.
Because they got the guy in the back, they got the guy driving, and they get the guy strapped to the front. And that's like literally just the thing from Mad Max. But that's fine. Orcs, and especially like Speed Freaks and Gorka Morka and all that, has always just been Mad Max. But with,
let's be fair, it's been Mad Max with greenskins.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more lightheartedness than Mad Max.
But sure.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And
that's what we wanted. That's all we wanted.
That's what we wanted. It's really cool looking.
All of the orc kits they've showed off so far. And, I've been blown away by them, first off. But I don't know what all's what yet.
And what they do.
Because they've given us names, and I'm like, okay, but, like, we haven't seen, like, a box with, like, this is what that is,
So, my question about them and my, I would guess, concern or problem with them.
Okay.
Is, are they going to be good?
Are they going to be good?
Because they are fairly clearly shooting vehicles.
They are.
They have big guns in the back.
They do have big guns.
And orc shooting is traditionally not the best.
That's true. That is very true.
And I've always felt that when an orc codex or sub-codex or whatever comes around that makes shooting really good, it's kind of not very orky, because orcs are much more...
In your face?
In your face, and kind of like, let's get in there bashing, and like, our shooting is like weird stuff that happens and maybe does something.
Yeah, absolutely,
So, that's my... I love the models. The models are amazing. They're some of the best ones I've seen this year in a lot of ways. They capture the orky spirit, and they do a great job. Especially this one it's like one of the best ways that I've ever seen them kind of work pop culture into 40K.
Yeah,
because you can clearly see that this has.
You
pop
see the
culture.
influence.
Yeah,
you clearly see the influence.
But it's still very, very orky and great, and you're like, all right, like that's cool. Like they don't. It's harder to do that with like Space Marines or something.
Right. You can't have Mad Max Space Marines around.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
I guess you could do like big anime Ice Space Marines.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I know what you mean. I wonder about the rules myself. What are they going to do with the orcs? I'm wondering about all of the model kits we've seen. You know, part of me wonders, like, is that just one kit with a whole bunch of sprues in there, or
three separate kits?
3 separate kits.
I mean, if this was 10 years ago, I would say it's obviously one kit with a bunch of different sprues in it.
Right.
But Modern Games Workshop has definitely been spinning off these similar kits into different similar models into different sprues.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. And the other thing they showed off was that new troll-esque.
Yeah, troll
door or something.
Trogdor.
But yeah, I think they hinted that was actually going to be part of the Shadespire.
It's coming to Warhammer Underworlds, right?
It said it was coming to Warhammer Underworlds. Yeah, but it's a cool looking model.
It's really cool.
Bigger than an orc.
Yeah,
it had some fungal growths.
Smarter than your average orc.
Smarter than your average orc. But that was a cool model they showed off. It's a really cool model. But those are the two big models.
Those are two big models
they showed off.
Now, to me, some of the biggest news that they did announce, though, is that they're going to do official GTs.
They are! That was huge.
So I think the last GT I actually went to was the Dallas GT.
Yeah?
Back in, like, 2003 or whenever they stopped. That was one of the last ones I went to. They kind of stopped doing them, and then they did a couple in, like, Baltimore still.
Yeah, so just to clarify, here in the U.S., of course, we still have a very vibrant, very active tournament scene.
Yes.
But they have not been official sanctioned GW
events. Since, like, 2009?
Yeah.
It was like the last time they did the
they did Ard Boys a couple years.
They still had, like, the Baltimore GT.
Yeah. But those GTs, the official Games Workshop Grand Tournaments, have basically evaporated.
Yeah,
that's why we have so many IGTs or independent grand tournaments here in the U.S. because we fill the void. That's where you get stuff like Nova, LVO, Adepticons. Always been huge.
And some of these have always run together. They've been alternates to when there's not been GTs. The GTs, I think, were a lot bigger.
Yeah.
They used to have a couple in Texas. They'd have them in Baltimore. They had them in like Chicago.
Yeah.
And they had them in Las Vegas before. Possibly other places. I think there was like Toronto had GTs at one point. And then they slowly started having
just
less of these.
Slowing them down.
They eventually Baltimore, Las Vegas, I think was one of the last ones, and then Baltimore was probably the last one.
Right.
This is also when they used to do the big games days.
Yeah.
So a lot of times those were. I don't know if they were necessarily always. They weren't always together. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I think
but for the most part,
there was a Chicago GT that was at a games day that I went to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were kind of. They used to do all these big events. They had Ard Boys also was another big event.
They slowly stopped those.
Yep.
And it hasn't been a drought because like again the fans stepped in and did their own thing and that scene's blown up. But they've seen, I think, especially the past couple years, as they've kind of emerged from their cocoon of like we don't talk about it to no, let's engage the fans. They've seen the engagement and they've seen the results and they're like, no, we need to bring back the GTs.
I mean, I'm personally very happy because like 3 weeks ago I wrote an article saying that Games Workshop needs to start running GTs again.
And now they are.
And so this announcement comes less than a month after I write about it.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. But I think there's definitely, aside from the fact that you can have like the official stamp or which always has its own prestige and is always really cool.
Right.
You have this idea within the community that for better or worse, the ITCs or all the independent GTs over here are not actually 40K.
Yeah,
right.
That's a perception. I mean, to be perfectly honest,
I mean, it's true.
It's true because you're not using the straight out of the rules.
Right.
No matter how you feel about that.
Right.
Like, it's just a fact. If you start changing rules from the core rulebook, you are no longer playing.
Now,
I'm not saying that's bad.
It's not necessarily bad. And 8th edition is a lot closer than before. 'Cause back in like 6th edition and stuff, we had huge 50-page FAQs, right?
Right.
Some of these tournaments put out and said, this is all the FAQs for the game.
This is how we do it here at our tournament.
Yep. And those could significantly make them be different games. In the modern era, in 8th edition especially, you don't see a lot of these big FAQs. Right. They might be one or two clarifying things. One of the biggest one is sometimes they'll change how terrain works.
Yeah.
ITC, for instance, has like the bottom floor of buildings you can't see through.
Yeah, just again, it's a modeling.
Which is a modeling thing.
I get it.
But and then their missions. Their missions are often very different from anything in the 40K book. They don't use the standard missions. They sometimes use standard deployment, but they're very different missions. And these specialized missions do change how people play the game and how they build their lists.
It also affects you mentioned the terrain, but also it affects like how much terrain they put on the table.
Yep.
Basically, what I'm excited about is we get to see how Games Workshop thinks a tournament is supposed to look and run, and what rules rulings will be, and stuff like that.
And it's a lot more official. One of the things, just to show you an example of how they twist the game, one of the things people were talking about, which I actually hadn't even noticed this.
Yeah.
So in ITC, one of the secondary objectives that's very common is it's called the Reaper, and you get points for killing 10-man squads.
Yeah.
Or 10 model squads.
10 model squads.
Yeah. So one of the things people have been doing, which I hadn't realized entirely why, is if you take your 10-man infantry guard infantry squad, and you put a heavy weapon in there, like a really cheap mortar,
sure,
it becomes a 9 model squad.
Right.
Because 2 of those models combine into 1 model.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons people were doing that, aside from because the mortar's okay, but 2 mortars doesn't make much difference to the game, but they were doing that specifically
to prevent
those points.
Yeah.
So that was actively changing how people were building lists in subtle, minor ways.
Yeah, and that may not be a bad thing. It may be a complete abomination. That's not what I'm talking about here. Yeah. But it's just going to be interesting to see how Games Workshop is going to run their tournaments, even if they end up using a bunch of ITC stuff. Sure. Because they talk to those guys. Yeah. We know they announced the show that they were going to do with Frankie and Jeff in control. I mean, we know that they're talking to the U.S. players. Mm-hmm. We know that they're working with our tournament organizers here in the U.S. It's not a secret.
It's not a secret, no. Yeah. I mean, personally, I'm hoping that they do it a little more old school, because they did with more like sportsmanship and maybe even comp stuff, and that we see a very different flavor of tournament come out of that.
That'll be interesting, yeah.
Which is a little more, it's still a tournament, but maybe it's a little more aimed at like casual tournament players, or not as cutthroat. It's a possibility. Like, yeah. I mean, in the past, Games Workshop has promoted that side of it. Composition scores where your army gets extra points if it fits certain rules that make it more fluffy or whatever.
It's going to be very interesting to see, again, along with it, just how they're going to enforce those things. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be. I know it's going to be different.
It's definitely going to be different
than the IGTs.
Well, one of the easiest differences you see a lot of times, and perhaps I don't know if this motivates them at all, but generally, the Games Workshop events only allow Games Workshop models. Yeah. Where IGTs may sometimes allow non-Games Workshop models or third-party parts and things like that. So that can definitely skew even what you see at these events. Which is different and interesting. So yeah. But they did used to be you got more pageantry out of the Games Workshop events, I thought.
That's a good word for it. Yeah. And there was a different level of prestige associated with it, but I still don't think there was not even a different caliber of player, because you're still going to have, there's still company, like
the same players.
It is not a walk in the park.
It is not a walk in the park. Yeah. It's also not like boring.
No.
Games Works. I mean, you think maybe they're just going to run straight out of the book events.
Yeah.
It's definitely not always true.
No.
My favorite GT I ever went to, I think, was the last Dallas GT.
Yeah.
Where I went and played old Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah.
And they had you bring like 250 points of Dogs of War mercenaries.
Yeah.
That you got to add into your army at different missions and do different stuff, and that was like very.
You know what I missed
out
the
of
most?
The park.
You know what I missed most? The quiz.
The quiz. Yep. They used to have quizzes.
The quiz, man.
Yeah.
When's the last time you were at a IGT and they had a fun quiz?
They don't do those anymore. So they used to have quizzes in between some of the rounds where you could actually might affect your score.
Yeah, literally like. Yeah. How do you spell Gosgold's full name.
Yep.
And it was like, oh man, you know, and is that dumb, silly information? Yeah, but that was the point. It's fun.
They did a better job, I think, in some ways, of representing the hobby as a whole.
Yeah.
Because that's their job.
You are right.
Our IGT is not there to represent the hobby as a whole necessarily.
Right.
But the Games Workshop events are there to represent the hobby as a whole, and they do a much better job of that than some of the other ones. And they get to be official, and they can bring guests and all kinds of cool stuff.
But that's the other thing too. Like again, I'm not trying to crap on the IGT. I think having run tournaments, having been on that side of things.
Yeah.
I have a ton of respect for TOs. Mm-hmm. If you're putting out your own events, you know, more power to you. Sure. Props to you.
And we're not going to see those go away.
Right. We're not going to see those go away. But I think the fact that we're going to have GTs and we can do stuff where they bring in somebody from maybe the design studio to talk about stuff, or they do a Warhammer Fest reveal
kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be
so
cool.
They've been doing some of that stuff at the big events.
Yeah,
now.
And they're probably still gonna keep doing that.
They're probably
stuff.
still gonna do that.
I don't know if you guys know this, but they put out a lot of stuff that they can talk about.
Yep.
So,
but I mean, I think it's really cool and good to have Games Workshop back doing official things. I mean,
yes,
they're the only major game system that doesn't have a company controlled, an official like competitive play circuit. Right. Every other game, War Machine, Hordes, X-Wing, Armada, Legion.
Yeah. All of the other major manufacturers.
Infinity, I think.
All the other major manufacturers have not a controlled format, but they have their own official stuff out there.
And they run events, and they have national championship or whatever you want to call it.
And I really hope that, you know, even so far as like the prize support, if they just start giving up cool trophies again, like the Slayer swords and stuff like that. That stuff was always neat because you can't fake those in terms of like, you know.
No, I mean, it's one of the cool things. I mean, you get your picture in a white dwarf or something like that. Like, it was just, it's a cool way of recognizing it and being part of the hobby. We don't know how many they're going to have. It may be one for 40K, one for Fantasy, or for Age of Sigmar.
Right.
It may be multiple. I don't know. I think they've run a couple in London. Yeah. Or in Nottingham. But England's obviously a little smaller than the United States.
Just a little. But the population's pretty excited about it.
The population's, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I would hope that you will get a couple. I'm hoping they'll run one up in Dallas.
Yeah, they
make sense.
If you go to the store, you're going to be like, they can't fit a GT in here, and you're right. But they have overflow space.
They do, yeah.
They also have a ton of play space in there. I want to say it was 4, maybe 5 rows of like somewhere between 3 to 5 tables. I'd have to double check. They could easily fit probably 30 players in there on a regular night.
I know in Chicago when they used to have the Battle Bunker in Chicago, they had some of the big events were in the Battle Bunker, and some of them they would rent out the convention center.
Well, they're right next to overflow space, so they can do that. So it is an option for them. They even had the hotel when they had the mix up.
The mix up,
for their first original grand opening. They're able to put on an event in local spaces. So running a GT is definitely in their wheelhouse, definitely a possibility. I mean, we know they're coming, but they can do that based out of the Grapevine Warhammer Citadel store.
And hopefully they'll run more than just the one.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. US has a lot of fans, a lot of places they can.
And we'll see if they tie them into the other circuits or anything.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So it'll be interesting. Now we did get some other rumors out of the weekend too.
Yes.
Speaking of orc stuff and stuff like that. And we're going to go ahead and grab our special
weekend correspondent. Yes.
JR.
Is he a weekend correspondent?
He's a weekend correspondent. He covers all the weekend news.
Well, that's not true. I help. So, I mean.
Well, you want to stay for the rest of this show?
I mean, if he doesn't get in here quick enough and we're buying time.
Let's just buy time quickly.
Yeah, but no, there's a ton of cool rumors coming out. And here to talk about those is the man, JR, who's going around that way.
He's taking the long way around.
It's cool.
We're going to miss him when he's gone. Because he's got 2 tickets for the long way around.
Alright, here he goes. I'm out.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for being on. Woo! And welcome in, JR. You may have heard our live studio audience making some comments earlier.
Yeah, that was Harry.
Yep.
He is happy that I'm here.
Well,
I'm happy to be here.
Harry.
I'm happy. Thank you. I'm happy to be here, and we're here today to talk about rumors, right?
Rumors, and news. Yes.
Okay.
So
great.
We got some new rumors about the upcoming October, right?
Yes, but let's get to that last.
Okay.
Let's talk about the news first. The news. It's both exciting, and it takes place in the mortal realms of the Age of Sigmar.
Oh.
So first up, Chaos!
Wah! Wait, that's not chaos.
Yeah.
Change!
Blood! Disease!
Flies!
Yeah.
Rock and roll!
We're getting all of that
Yep.
in the form of the new Beasts of Chaos.
Ooh.
The Beastman Battle Tome for the Age of Sigmar is coming out. And this is going to sort of give all of the various Beastmen factions their own battle tome. It kind of incorporates everything from the Bray Herds, which are
right.
the Goatmen, to Pestigors and Zangors and Ogors and Dragors and Algors.
He invented the Mortal Realms.
He did. Didn't you know? It's
Yeah.
not a dump truck.
Nope, that's
Definitely one thing we can say about the Mortal Realms.
Yep.
It's not a dump truck.
So the inconvenient truth about Chaos is that they're pretty big right now.
Yeah, they are pretty big right now, and their Beastmen hordes are they're just a return to that sort of old school flavor, right?
Right.
Because they are the original marauding hordes. They chaos, beasts, marauders. They come out of the wastes, out of the wilds, and they rampage across, and they represent this is raw, untamed chaos.
Right. I mean,
know?
that's one of the... Yeah, they've always kind of been that... They've been almost a natural chaos.
Yeah, yeah. There's
the chaos in nature.
They're like the primal chaos,
yeah,
right?
definitely. And sometimes you change into 7. Sometimes they're just born.
Yeah.
So
knows?
what new models are we going to get?
We're going to get a Herd Stone, which is this amazing looking stone Beastman altar thing.
I've got a bunch of Herd Stones outside of my yard, actually.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, there you go then. We are also getting some other new guys. You can read about them on our website. That's the big one, or the other big ones are the Endless Spells, which are there's
Right.
the Flaming Bull or something like that, which you've seen is that big charging
by the
bull.
horn. Yep.
There's also a flock of murder birds.
Certainly. Is it not a murder of murder birds?
It might be a murder of murder birds. There is a murder of birds that
There
will
we
murder
go.
you.
Yes.
They look like they are mean, and then last but certainly not least, there is a giant, skeletal, flaming, bestial hand
Sure.
that's holding a massive horn.
There we go.
Yeah, it's all engraved with
Is
chaos
it
glyphs.
It a Bray horn?
Presumably.
horn, something
Presumably.
like that?
My guess is it's going to go around and, apply buffs to you, debuffs to your
Sure.
enemies. Maybe it'll cause some mortal wounds. Who knows?
Maybe.
But there are 3 new endless spells coming for the Beasts of Chaos. And along with all of the other stuff, they're going to have new allegiance abilities, new war scrolls.
And this is secretly feeding into my hope of the next 40k codex,
Which is...
Codex Imperial Beastmen.
Oh my god,
obviously.
that would be amazing!
Return to the old, early days of 40k when they were Beastmen abhumans as part of
That's just
the
what
Imperial
happens,
Guard.
yeah.
Which is one of the funniest, most of the time, when there are parallels between 40k and Age of Sigmar or Fantasy back in the day, they kind of lined up. You know? But the fact that in 40k Beastmen were good guys and loyalists,
Isn't that kind of amazing?
and not chaos at all. They were just abhuman semi-mutants, and then in fantasy they're no, these are super chaos.
Well, I mean, there's that Beastman Bounty Hunter in
there is the Beastman Bounty Hunter in Necromunda,
who is amazing.
Right, all part of the return of Imperial Beastmen.
That would be my start collecting army. That would be that would be the army that if I could fuel Imperial Beastmen, I would sign up for them day 1, 8 o'clock.
Day 1, 8 o'clock.
First in line.
Aren't they be a day net -1 at 8 o'clock to get first in line?
I suppose.
At least, yeah, T-1.
I would get there early to get an Imperial Beastman, in Astra Militarum uniform.
Oh yeah, no, it'd be great.
With a hat on one horn or a Beastman
people.
commissar.
People have mocked them up and done conversions of them. Obviously, Goat Boy's a big fan of Beastmen in general.
Of course.
So we're gonna secretly get him into Age of Sigmar with that.
Yeah. So that's one big.
That's one big news.
The other one is Destruction. You guys probably saw the book. The other big thing is that we're getting some new stuff for the Moon Clan. They revealed at the opening of the Warhammer Citadel in Grapevine, which Adam probably told you about. They revealed the Troggoth Shaman.
Yes.
Or not Troggoth Shaman, just the Troggoth, who like the goblinoid, fungoid cave shaman, is covered in mushrooms.
It's very cool model.
Yeah. He is like mega covered in mushrooms. He's basically a fungus himself.
And he's like if Trogdor was more goth.
Yeah.
More goth.
Yeah, Troggoth.
Troggoth.
One beefy arm. The other one is covered in black lace.
And mushrooms. Yeah. Black lace mushrooms. Don't eat them, they're poisonous.
These guys are pretty amazing. They're I don't know, goblins are both the comic relief and also the sort of chance to do crazy awesome things.
Definitely.
Right? Like they're your grots, you know.
They're like less annoying Skaven.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, cuz you can just have fun with them. You don't have to take them seriously. They aren't the great horn devouring rat that's going to eat everything.
Definitely not.
They're just going to cause some problems and eat some weird mushrooms.
Yeah. Which is my Saturday night.
Pretty much. We don't know too much else about what we're going to see. What else we might see.
But it is going to be a whole new book, right? We know it's going to be a whole new battle.
Yeah, we know they're getting that, and we know we're getting Troggoths, and that you just have to look at what the Stormcast and Nighthaunt books have been like.
Sure.
Because they're both kind of built off of the 4 different characters that we saw in the Malign Portents, the different Harbingers. So
which is why this makes sense, obviously.
Right. This one's based off of the Moon Clan Fungoid Cave Shaman.
Right.
So
we're going to get some, grots in big metal armor, and then some grots that are covered in chains also.
And then some grots that are executioner ghosts.
Yeah.
No,
that makes perfect sense.
We'll probably see the Fungoid Cave Shaman and some variants thereof.
Right.
We'll probably see more like the Troggoth that are mushroom-enhanced goblinoid creatures. Yep. We'll see some other... rumor has it that we're going to get new spider riders. Although, I don't know if that's a credible rumor or just someone's wishful thinking.
Spider Rider model is a pretty old model.
It is an old model, and they could do a new one, and I would love to see them get all Age of Sigmar. Yep. Especially since one of the cool things about Age of Sigmar is all the crazy riding beasts. I mean, the Stormcast Eternals have a whole bunch. Why should they have the monopoly on them?
It's true.
When you could get
cooler spiders.
Cooler spiders.
Maybe they're mushrooms.
Oh, mushrooms! Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, not spider mushrooms. Just mushrooms.
Maybe they're riding bestial mushrooms.
Maybe the mushrooms don't move. They're just they're like the little horses in the front of the grocery store that just go back and forth, right? And they just a bunch of guys sitting on mushrooms,
sign me up,
swaying back and forth.
Sign me up,
because they're all been eating so many mushrooms.
Right?
How would they
think they're riding into battle. They're actually not. Oh man, wouldn't that be
movement 0?
Wouldn't that be an amazing model if it's you so think you're riding into battle, you don't actually move.
You could do half of it as a spider and then it transforms into a mushroom in the back.
That would be amazing.
To represent the ephemeralness of vision.
Nature?
Yeah.
Who knows? But that is what is coming out for the Age of Sigmar.
All right.
And that'll be out very soon. The Beasts of Chaos are coming at the end of September is what I think, because shortly before GW made their big announcement, there was a leaked White Dwarf picture kind of going around that had the Battle Tome Beasts of Chaos in it.
Well, and they got to get out before October. Because
exactly.
they're clearly not part of October.
They clearly aren't.
Speaking of October,
get out of here.
Yes,
I threw them.
They were thrown so far. It was very realistic. JR is an excellent actor.
Why, thank you. But speaking about Orktober, orcs, and more orcs, I have a question for you, Abe.
Yes.
So, we all know how orcs sound, right?
Yes.
What if they were American?
What
would their voice be?
What would their voice be?
So, okay, right? Because orcs, right?
They're American.
But what if they were? What if the people that made GW had made the orcs... Right, what if they were American? What would they? What region? What dialect would they have?
Dialect?
Right, because they're like that Cockney kind of football hooligan, right?
So they have like Dallas accents.
But what would they be in America? Would they be like a southern like redneck hillbilly kind of thing? Would they be like New York tough guys?
I mean, either they would be. I don't think they'd be redneck.
Right.
They'd either be like maybe like New York tough guys. I mean, like
or like from Jersey or whatever.
Like unfortunately, like the most direct of like the Cockney accent would either be like a really offensive like ghetto accent or whatever, or
maybe
like an 18th century immigrant Irish detective accent.
Right,
like it has to be specifically a detective, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
So like I guess like they'd all talk like Bullock from Batman or something like that. Just hard-bitten orc detectives.
These are the questions that I've been pondering while chewing over the new orc rumors that are out.
Well, I thought we just had lunch. Are you still hungry?
Yeah.
He's chewing on everything.
There's a whole bunch of new orc rumors out, folks. We have posted about them on our website, but the long and the short of it is, the new orc clan rules seem to be genuine.
Which
is pretty crazy.
Yeah, some of them are fairly normal. What we've seen. They do seem to be pretty powerful though.
They do.
So we know, for instance, like Bad Moons, from what it says, are going to reroll ones to hit.
Right.
For shooting.
Blood axes are gonna like be able to advance and charge and always count as in cover.
Always count in trouble. Well, fall back, advance and charge, and fall back and charge and shoot
and still be in cover. That's
and count as being in cover, which is a very which is the one that I felt the most iffy on, because that's like 3 separate abilities in there.
Fall back
and shoot,
and fall back and charge,
and then
always be in cover. I mean, fall back and shoot for orcs, that's not really anything.
Well, it's still a bunch of. I mean, if you can fall back, shoot, and charge all together.
Yes. Like, if you could fall back and shoot, though, like, on orcs, that's not the best.
No, but comboing that with falling back and shooting and charging.
Yes. And then on top of that...
And on top of that, always being in cover is,
that's
powerful. And that's a lot of different stuff going on. There's one that's a pretty standard feel no pain on the 6s.
Right.
So we saw a bunch of those. Get extra attacks on 6s to hit. I mean, to me... there's one that's like +1 to movement and charge and advance rolls, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the better ones. Reroll ones to hit on shooting is kind of okay.
It's kind of okay.
I mean, you can definitely build a list that benefits from it, and with the amount of dice orcs get,
sure,
it's not horrible at all.
But there are better things to kind of build towards.
And really falling back and being able to fall back, shoot, and charge.
That's pretty
plus
spicy.
Always counting as being in cover is really powerful.
That is.
Even for orcs. So apparently most of those are probably real. We also got some new stratagems, right?
We got some new stratagems.
What stratagems do we hear about?
So we heard about a few of the standard ones that everyone gets. Like orcs can deep strike. Theirs works a little differently. It's you can specifically hold back up to 20 different power level of orcs. Now whether that's one in one unit or spread out across whatever, we don't know. There's the orcs can you can pile in and fight again in the fight phase.
Pretty standard. They have a green tide, which is very similar. It sounds like the Tide of Traitors or one of those, where you bring back a dead. You take a unit that's all but dead. Yeah. You wipe them off and then you put them back on a board edge. It seems like I think one of the things we heard about that is that they have to be at least half dead to use it. Yes. So it's very specifically not. They don't want it to be abused as a redeployment mechanism. Right. Which is something that we had seen with Tide of Traitors, is people were taking basically full units. Right, and then just sort of redeploying them. And we're using it just to redeploy them. So that's a good thing. I think my favorite one we saw was the Luda. Oh yeah, looted. Which is when a unit is destroyed or when a tank is destroyed within 12 inches, something like that, of a friendly unit, you can use this stratagem, and that unit gets +1 to its armor save. Right, because they're looting all the scrap and making armor out of it, which is pretty amazing. Which is that's potentially a decent stratagem. Right. And then also just a really flavorful, fun stratagem. Yeah. We'll have to actually see what if there's caveats and further rules
And like
on
how
it.
how all of that.
Yeah, could you do this multiple times to the same unit? Could it have to be an enemy vehicle, friendly
Right.
vehicles? I mean, is there enough to loot when like a truck explodes
Right.
for a whole 30-man mob?
Exactly.
Like, oh well, each of us have a
A bolt from the truck, which
Yeah.
which didn't have any bolts. It was held together with rubber bands
Or-
and baling wire, so
Yeah.
that's impressive.
Yeah, or conversely, it was all bolts and nothing else.
My personal favorite
Mm-hmm.
is the long uncontrolled bursts, which is a stratagem that orc flyers can use. So like when you shoot at another flyer,
Right.
you get +1 to hit. And then there's Grot Shield.
Grot Shield,
which
sure.
is,
Which is like if there's a unit of grots between you and the target shooting you,
Yes.
you can use it on like 2 pluses or something. You can put
You
the
can-
wounds onto the grots.
Hilariously, though, the grots do have to be between you and the
Well,
other.
sure.
Right, they
Yeah,
can't just
yeah,
be
They can't
behind.
just be behind you.
Yeah.
So those are some really interesting things. We also heard about some new possible units and
Yeah.
models coming.
Yeah.
So the Orc book sounds like it's one of the first books where we're really getting since Death Guard. Really,
Yeah, where we're getting a whole bunch of new
well, not even
stuff.
since Death Guard, since Marines, where it's a reworked book, not a new
Right.
book, where we're getting a lot of new stuff. So we've seen the 3 different types of tracks or
Yeah, there's the
dragsters or whatever
the
they're calling them.
dragster, the new buggy, which is the
Mhm.
custom booster blaster, and then there's the
The first one they showed
boom,
off.
and then there's the snaz wagon,
Snag.
the boom daka snaz wagon.
Yeah. So we know those are coming. We've heard a lot of rumors about a new Gaz model. And possibly some sort of Gaz / big mega beast orc model.
Yeah.
So there may either be one kit there may just be Gaz. It could be one kit that's both. Or it
Could
could be
be.
2 kits that's
Could be.
Gaz and then a generic version of Gaz.
There are 3 other vehicles
Mhm.
rumored. There's the new War Trike,
Right.
which is kind of the
I hope
hero
it's like
vehicle.
I hope it's a reverse strike.
That would be amazing.
That's
That would
much
be
cooler
amazing.
if it works, I think.
Yeah, it makes sense for it works.
Or
yeah.
it's just a really big like
Or
red
like
trike.
just like a not even a big wheel,
like
just
a pedal trike. Like it has to
upscaled-
literally just be a pedal trike.
Yeah, I'd be down. I
Yeah.
would be down. They also are rumored to have something called a Megatrack Scrap Jet.
Yep, which I guess is a flyer,
Yeah, it sounds like.
but it has tracks.
But it's got tracks? Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe it's an Orc VTOL craft.
Maybe. We don't even know what that is. And
Who
then
knows?
what's the third one?
And then there's the Rocket Truck Squig Buggy.
Yes. We've also heard rumors, less solid, I think, but there's also been rumors of like a rework for the Deathcopter,
Right.
possibly a new Deathcopter model, because I guess the one that's available right now is the old one.
Is the old one,
They
yeah.
did have a newer plastic one in the Black Reach box, but that's not really available anymore.
Nope.
So it may just be a re-release of that particular model, because that's not a bad model and it's plastic. So if they re-released it, just the plastic one, something like that. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of new models being rumored for Works. I mean, that's a total of 7 or 8 different vehicle kits, 6 to 8 different
So
vehicle
which
kits.
is I guess the way that orcs are going is towards vehicles.
Towards
right?
vehicles.
That's
I
what
mean,
that's what it feels
It
like.
it definitely feels like it. I mean, they have a pretty developed infantry force already, which
Yeah.
has a fair amount of plastic in it. The orc model range is one of the more modern ones.
Right.
And I don't know like how many variation on boy you can do.
Right.
Like,
Before
it's just so I definitely think that it makes sense. The vehicle side. I mean, speed freaks are probably the most popular type of orc traditionally, and it makes sense from a how do we make cool centerpiece models.
Yeah.
To do more vehicles.
I mean, they all look amazing.
They all look amazing. That's how you can fit a lot more of the orky flavor into it, is through all the vehicles. And again, my secret hope is that this is all leading to the Gorka Morka reboot.
Oh, I would love that.
Because, like, those buggies and stuff,
Yeah.
they make sense as some sort of... I mean, we know that we're getting some kind of rules with the Speed Freak
Right.
box that's coming out.
But it is specifically not Gorka Morka.
It's specifically
so if we
not.
had Gorka Morka,
Yes.
it'd be great.
Or they could just release Morka Gorka.
Yeah, they could, and just
Right.
kind of go against type.
Yep. And I'll be like, yes, this is the new Morka Gorka.
Yep.
Like, oh, I see what you did there.
Oh.
So my question about orcs.
Yes.
For all we know that they're coming and everything. What do they need to be good?
What do they need to be?
Because orcs are really interesting place right now.
Right.
They're one of the most popular Xenos factions.
Sure, for sure.
Everyone really likes it. Even if you don't play them,
You
you
still
still
them.
like orcs. They are probably one of the most intrinsically recognizable of 40K parts.
Absolutely.
Even things like Eldar and Necrons and Tyranids are a little more generic in some ways than Space Orcs. So I mean, you see, for instance, Space Orcs you see in a lot of the games, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the video games have Space Orcs. So
everyone loves to kill them, right?
Everyone loves to kill them.
I mean, even if whatever army you're playing, you love playing against orcs because you could just blow a whole bunch of them up.
Get rid of him. So they're popular,
but
competitively you don't see them played.
No,
they're next to dead on the competitive scene. Except,
basically, right?
It's not that they're horrible because the few times we've seen them play, they actually have done really well. We've seen orc lists actually win events.
Sure.
Now they're generally crazy kooky orc lists with big old squigoths and stuff like that. Right. So it's not that orcs are like a garbage army. They're not Tau, let's be honest.
Yeah, they're not.
But we're not seeing them played because there's a very narrow amount of. I guess they have a very narrow type of army that can build to do well.
Yeah.
So, what do they take to make them good? But not overpower necessarily. And conversely, what's the niche they feel? Because as we were talking with Adam earlier.
Yeah.
All these vehicles so far seem like very shooty vehicles.
They do seem like very shooty vehicles.
So, are they going to be good?
Right.
Because either orc shooting is going to be bad, and all these beautiful models are not going to be very good.
Right.
Which wouldn't be the first time we've seen a beautiful model that's not good, but would be sad. Or they're going to make orc shooting be really good.
And it's...
That's not the most, at least personally, not my favorite type of orc army. Same with shooty Tyranid lists always feel very weird to me. Yeah.
Well, I will say I think the looking at the Boomdaka Snazwagon, right? That thing. I don't know. Maybe they make them good up close. Up close, yeah. So it's not it's less you're shooting with them, but you're getting them close, so you can use your flamers or throw your Molotov cocktails or whatever.
Definitely.
Because both of the orcs on that have Molotov cocktails in their hands. So maybe it's about getting close to deliver whatever firepower you have,
stuff like that.
I could see that working, and that would be something interesting. That would be something that you don't really see. Because there isn't a close shooting army, right?
It's true. There's not as much. You don't see a lot of close range shooting.
Yeah.
Tau almost in some ways.
Tau almost in many ways
what makes Tau so bad.
But you don't want the Tau to be close. But orcs, yeah, orcs 30 models have 150 attacks or whatever.
Interestingly, yeah, I'd love to see. We haven't seen a close combat vehicle.
We haven't. And that would be fun
orcs,
too.
I mean, with all the cans and stuff that they have and dreads.
Their Gorkanauts.
Orcs could position themselves as close range and close combat vehicle list.
And one of the things that really kind of sells that is one of the stratagems that we didn't mention is one called ramming speed, which lets a vehicle charge 3d6 inches and they cause mortal wounds if they successfully charge.
So
that would be fun. Fun. If you had vehicles that were fast but that weren't weapon skill 6, that'd be pretty amazing.
That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, I think we're about out of time here. So again, thanks for watching the BoLS Tabletop Hour. As I said, we're filming in front of our live studio audience every Monday at 3 p.m. Central Time. This is our amazing weekend correspondent, JR.
And this is our amazing weekday host, Abe.
I'm Abe, yep. We'll be back next week with all your latest tabletop news and commentary. So we'll see you then. And a big thanks to Mars for running everything behind the scenes.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yep. See you later.
Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.